Okay, so we're back here, and what we're going to be doing in this video is fixing up a bad paint job. The walls here are a deep red, and it looks like the walls weren't primed first. And whenever you use a dark color like red, you have to prime the walls first with a gray primer. And what the gray primer does is it cancels out the white, because red is one of the most difficult colors to work with to get a uniform surface. The color red is the longest wavelength and it doesn't cover that well, so you have to use the right shaded gray first. And when you look at the walls here, I know that you can't see it with the camera, but there's a bunch of spots where it's lighter and darker, and especially where it was cut in here. So what we want to do first is we want to get rid of that white, and the way to get rid of the white is to prime gray first, and then after it's primed in a gray, then you can achieve the right color of red in just 2 top coats. But if you don't prime gray first, and especially if you're going on top of the color white, it could take 5, 6 to even 7 coats. So it's very important to use the right shaded gray whenever dealing with the red here. And on the table over here is the paint. This is the paint right here where I'm using, the color is AF290, and the name of it is Caliente, and this is in a matte finish. And the primer that I'm using now is just a Benjamin Moore primer, and I have it tinted towards the right shaded gray, so that this will cover in just 2 coats here. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to grab my brush in the bucket, and you can see in the bucket what kind of the paint's there, and I'm just going to dab it to one side. Now I'm going to transfer this to the walls up here. I'm going to be cutting in against the crown molding here. So whenever you cut in against crown molding, you just want to come down like an inch of it, and then get rid of the paint, and then grab the paint again, and then just come into it. And then feather it off back into what I did there. So the brush is loaded up again. I'm going to come down from it. That transfers it to the wall. And then I'm going to grab it again and then come into it. And when you cut in crown molding, you want to cut it to just the underside of where the wood stops and where the caulking starts. So that when you look at it from a few feet away, it appears to be a sharp line. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come down here and move the ladder, and then come back up here. And when you're cutting in the crown, I'm just using like the top tip here of the brush here to work it in there. So it's in there now, and I have a steady bit of pressure on it, and I'm just going down with it. Okay, so here we're going to be cutting in the door casing here. And as you can see here, it was never cut in that tightly, so we're going to bring it in some more. And as you can see here, the white is peering through the many coats of red that was put on here. And so as you can see, it didn't cover because it was never primed gray first. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start to cut in up here. And dab it in here, transfer it, come into it. And then feather this off here. And when you get down here to the bottom here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up and turn the brush like that so it's like on like a 45 and release the paint. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just grab some of the paint and then work it into the corner here and then press in on the brush and go up with it. And then feather it off by always going into it there. And then now I'm going to pull this chair rail across. And again, when I did the chair rail here, I first caulked this so that we're going to caulk on a totally smooth surface. So I'm going to come in here into the corner here, and then work it into the corner and just pull across. And now you can actually see the white caulk that is on the wall here too. So it's very important to cover that with the gray, or else that'll peer through. And now with the corner here, I'm just going to work the brush into the corner, and I got it, and I was going to pull down. Okay, so that is how I cut the top half of the chair rail. And so this is the primer coat, and then it's going to get 2 top coats. And then after the 2 top coats, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the trim paint here, and I'm going to cut the top half of the chair rail so that you get a straight line versus having to see 3 cuts that I made, well, 1 with the primer and then 2 with the top coats. So in the end, it just looks a lot better if you recut the top of the chair rail so that you get or so that you see a straight line when you look down on it. So next we're going to roll out the walls in the primer and then finish with the top coats.